let's go ahead and get into it. So it looks like Amy Cups is at it again. Amy Cups is at it again. I've actually spoken about her briefly on a podcast not too long ago. I think she was a school teacher. She jumped on OnlyFans, lost her job, and all that good stuff. Well, today there's an article out on The Sun entitled, "Oh Snap, I'm Called a Slut Because I Post Saucy Snaps. I've only slept with 3 men. People think I'm easy as I'm so hot."
Stop the cap.
So we're expected to believe that this woman has only had sex with 3 men in her life. Amy, stop the cap.
Stop the cap.
Stop the cap. 32 years old, she looks like this, and she's only slept with 3 men. This is why you got to pay attention, guys. This is why you got to pay attention. Devin, put it on the poll. Put it on the poll. How many men has Amy Cups slept with? Actually, in your opinion, how many men has Amy Cups slept with? And by the way, Amy Cups actually kind of sounds like a name, right? Sounds like a spicy movie star name. This story was actually dropped today, 5:35 Eastern. A woman reveals how she was called a slut online because she's, quote, sex positive, but she's only slept with 3 people. The first thing that stands out to me here is the fact that they say, but she's only slept with 3 people, which means they believe the fact that she's only slept with 3 people, right? If it would be more accurate if they said she slept with 3 people. But it doesn't say that. It says, but she's only slept with 3 people. So this particular website is publishing this sexual statistic as fact. So what if a dude said he slept with 333 people? Do you know what this article would say? Well, he says he slept with 333 people. Yeah, that's what I thought. Amy Cups, 32, from North Carolina in the U.S., is happy to share racy content with her 80,600 Instagram followers, but says it doesn't mean she's having a lot of sex. Sure it does. Of course it does. The more skin she shows, the less she has to offer. She's sex positive, but she's only slept with 3 people. Right? You can't have it both ways. You can't be sex positive and then claim that you've only slept with 3 people. Right? That's how that goes. So Devin, put it on the poll. In your opinion, how many men do you think Amy Cups has slept with? 20 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 150, or over 150? How many women? Well, might be some women in there too. How many people? What is Amy Cups's notch count? This woman who wears this woman with these and that body, and she has a pretty face. This woman wants us to think that she has slept with 3 people. That's 1,000% bullshit. In fact, the model has only ever invited 3 men into her bedroom and hasn't been with anyone since before the pandemic began.
Stop the cap.
Oh boy. Invited 3 men into her bedroom. You see how nebulous that is? I mean, she could have invited the electrician into her bedroom. She could have invited the cable guy into her bedroom to install the cable, right? You see how they carefully word this kind of stuff, right? Well, I've only been with 3 people. I mean, you've been with 3 people in a car. You've been with 3 people on vacation. No. You got to be frank with this stuff. How many people have you had sex with? How many people have you had sex with? Right? So of course they're going to say she's only. That's not an accident, people. Last time I had sex, she says, was before the pandemic. It's been a long and lonely 18 months, Amy said, admitting, I do really miss it, though.
Stop the cap.
More lies. More lies. She says that she's often trolled because of the explicit snaps she shares to social media and is often mistaken for being an escort. Well, sweetheart, that's part of the gig. You're making a bunch of money. You're getting notoriety because of your physique, your aesthetically pleasing physique. You got to take the good with the bad. You can't expect to get all of the praise without any of the slut shaming. This is just how it goes. Amy explained, quote, I get so many derogatory remarks online, like being called a slut, and men and women think I'm a high-end escort just because I post X-rated content on my OnlyFans and share sexy photos on Instagram. Uh-huh. Well, high-end escorts do share X-rated content on their OnlyFans, and they do share sexy photos on Instagram. When you engage in the kinds of behaviors that sluts and high-end escorts engage in, people are going to assume that you might actually work in the sex trade. And let's be clear. Amy Cups is a sex worker. Okay, she's a sex worker. Any person, man or woman, who makes money based on the way they look aesthetically is a sex worker. Well, Donovan, if she's not having sex, she's not a sex worker. Oh, yes, she is. She's making money on her sexuality, ergo she is a sex worker. Let's not get caught in the weeds here. Amy's complaining that there are costs to looking like this and sharing her body online. It is what it is. Truth is, I've only ever slept with 3 men, she revealed. Amy, sweetheart, nobody believes that you have only ever slept with 3 men. Nobody believes that. Let's look at her photo. This woman with that face. You know what this is, guys? That's called slut face. Well, what is slut face, Donovan? You either recognize it or you don't. Either recognize it or you don't. Amy Cups is a solid 8.5, man. And for her to expect us to believe that she has slept with only 3 men, that is an insult to our intelligence. That is an insult to our... She said, truth is, I've only ever slept with 3 men. Amy, who previously worked in a high school teaching history to teenagers, tries not to let other people's opinions bother her. She says, quote, I love sex, but I dress super sexy and have OnlyFans, women and men thinking I'm automatically promiscuous. Amy, if you've only had sex with 3 people, how do you really know you love sex? Right? Like, already her story is not adding up. She continues, if being a slut means widely successful, earning loads of money, having a great body and face, then I'm proud to be one. No, Amy. Being a slut is not being widely successful and earning loads of money, having a great body and face, and being proud to be... Then, no, that's not what it is. Being a slut is having sex with a lot of people indiscriminately, which you absolutely do. Well, how do you know, Donovan? You're not in her bedroom. I don't have to be. Listen, I don't have to be in Amy Cups' bedroom to know that she's a hoe. She's a hoe. She's a hoe. She's a slut. I don't know why she doesn't just own it proudly like these feminists. These feminists out here, I mean, dude, they'll dress up and write the word slut and hoe on their braless breasts. Like, there's no shame in their game. They're like, look, I'm a feminist, I'm a slut, I'm a hoe. No, Amy wants it both ways. She wants us to think that not only is she beautiful, but that she is also sexually chaste and discriminate. No, you're not. No, you're not. You are a sex worker who is trying to cover up the fact that you are a hoe. And that's okay. That's okay. That doesn't make you special or unique, but Amy, you're not a snowflake. You see, what Amy is trying to do here is this to me is sort of the bad signal. Hey guys, I'm beautiful and and I dress provocatively, but I've only had sex with 3 people. Amy, I got news for you. You're either a Madonna or a whore. You can't be both. Women who look like whores are never Madonnas. Now, there are women who look like Madonnas who are whores. But women who look like you are not Madonnas, sweetie. Nobody believes you've only had sex with 3 people. Nobody believes that. People can think what they want. I'm used to being judged on how I look, but I'm not going to change. Great. You shouldn't. The model stresses that she, quote, doesn't judge other women or men for having had many sexual partners, but is fed up with the assumptions made because of her job. So you don't judge other women for having had many sexual partners. Guys, the number one source of slut shaming is other women. Men don't slut shame women outwardly as much as women do. And besides, why would she make it a point to let us know that she doesn't judge other women for having had a lot of sexual partners if that's not what you've been doing? There's another giveaway. She's not short for offers, however, with her followers often falling over themselves to secure a date, but it's a tough challenge as Amy is, quote, super picky and sex is never on the table until at least 4 dates in. I'm not a prude, but I'm super picky, Amy confessed, as though this were information we didn't already know. I haven't found Mr. Right yet. My ideal man is a guy with a bit of a dad bod, maybe a little bit of muscle, definitely not bodybuilders. Oh, wow. Translation. My ideal guy is a bodybuilder who's hot. Guys, I'm here to tell you. Women don't like dad bods. Okay? They don't. No matter how much they try to convince you that they like the dad bod, they don't. Women like men who have a superior physique. They like the V taper. They like men who are defined. They like men who are ripped. Now, some women aren't really turned on by the 300-pound behemoths at, 2% body fat, like a Ronnie Coleman, a Jay Cutler, Phil Heath. Listen, I get that. That being said, Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, and Phil Heath they've never been short on female options for companionship. But for this woman, again, to expect us to believe that she is looking for just the normal average. So you're super picky, but you want a guy with a dad bod. I love them in all shapes and sizes, really. It's personality that counts, doesn't it? Oh my God. She continued, typically, if I go on dates with a guy, it'll normally take around 4 dates before I'd even consider having sex with him. So you've only had sex with 3 guys. Yet she says, typically, if I go on dates, it'll normally take around 4 dates before I'd even consider having sex with them. How can you use the word typically? When she uses the word typically, when I go on dates, it'll normally take, etc. This means that this happens on a regular basis. She clearly is going on a lot of dates. But she doesn't make these guys wait for 4 dates. You want to know the guys she makes wait for 4 dates? The guys with the dad bods. You want to know who she doesn't? The bodybuilders. The elite physique guys. The protein shake guys. You want to know something? That's okay. That's okay. Look, man, women seem to think, and this is really because of women, women seem to think that because they are sexually attracted to sexually attractive men, that it somehow makes them shallow. Well, it's personality that counts. Okay, I mean, I can certainly understand that. But looks do matter to an extent. And a woman who looks like Amy is going to have far more sexual options than women who do not. It's okay to be picky. You have high sexual market value, sweetheart. It's okay. It is okay to flex your high sexual market value. But don't try to come across as this bastion of morality, this hot girl who would date a normal looking guy because she likes his personality. No one buys that. No one buys that. She continues, lots of guys only want to date me for sex, so I try to make them wait to make sure they're genuine. I don't do one-night stands. Not anymore, you don't. Not anymore, you don't. You see, this again, to the naked eye, to the layperson who is reading this, all this is her shooting her shot. She's looking for, the reason why she's allowed this to be published is she's 32, number one, which means she doesn't have long before she hits the wall. Okay? She doesn't have long before she hits the wall. That's the first thing. The second thing is, because she doesn't have long before she hits the wall, I guess, again, this article is supposed to be her resume. I've only had sex with 3 guys. I'm super duper picky, and I don't do one-night stands.
Stop the cap.
Just because you... See, here's the thing. What Amy doesn't want us to know is that, does she do one-night stands? Not right now, I suppose not. That doesn't mean she hasn't before and that she won't again. Amy, seriously, stop the cap. Nobody... Listen. Men here know and understand that just because a woman proclaims not to do something does not mean that she hasn't done it before or that she won't do it again. This is how women are very careful with their words. Well, I don't do one-night stands. Well, what about a week ago? Well, okay. Then she says, lots of guys only want to date me for sex. Gee, I wonder why. You see, Amy, when you objectify yourself, which, by the way, isn't against the law, I'm not hating on Amy's hustle. Listen, man, Amy makes a bunch of money being a sex worker, but the other side of that coin is that people are going to look at you as a sex object. You can't expect people to not see you as a sex object when you work in a public arena as a sex worker. You can't be an OnlyFans girl, but then expect a high value guy to take you seriously, at least for a long-term relationship. No, you're going to be passed around by dude after dude until you're 37. That's how this goes. Amy Cups is never getting married, guys, and if she does, it's not going to be to a man she really wants to be married to. She has 2 teenagers, so she's a single mother with 2 kids, and she's past the wall. Unbelievable. Lots of followers try to get me to meet up with them for sex. Guys have offered me tens of thousands of dollars, cars, jewelry, you name it. I always say no, though I would like to fall in love with a fan who really wows me. Oh boy. Amy added, I know people make the assumption that I'm, quote, easy because of how I look, but I can't help that I'm super hot. Amy, sweetheart, you're hot, but you're not super hot. You're not a 10. Boo. Listen, Amy's not unattractive. Like, let's not cap. Every one of us in here would smash Amy. But sweetie, you're an 8.5 at best. Just because you have a couple of articles written about yourself doesn't, I mean, dude, like, compare yourself to other Instagram models, Amy. You want to be a 10? Look at the hottest Instagram models. That's your basis for comparison. Don't compare yourself to average bitches, Amy. Don't do that. Don't do that. She continues, men want me and call me names because they can't have me and women are jealous. Oh boy. Okay, fine. Despite the negative comments, Amy, who has had a boob job in the past, has no intention of changing her appearance and is, quote, happy being a so-called slut. No, you're not happy being a so-called slut. You're happy being a slut. You're happy being a slut. You see how she tries to separate herself? Well, if by slut you mean wildly successful, no, Amy, that's not what the word slut means. Let's look up the definition of slut. Let's look up at the definition of slut. Slut! A woman who has had many casual sexual partners. Amy, that's a slut. That's a slut. And again, I'm not in your bedroom, so I can't make any assumptions. However, based on what you have shown us over the past, I don't know, year or so, probably a safe assumption. Probably a safe assumption. If you were to meet a guy who were to wow you and he brings you home to mom, what's he supposed to tell her? Yeah, mom, this is Amy Cups. You know, she's an OnlyFans girl. She's had a boob job in the past. Yeah, she's pretty. Yeah, she's got a couple of kids. You know, got a couple of kids, but mom's going to be like, I'm sorry, she's a who? She's a what? Fuck out of here. Something else I've noticed about Amy is that a lot of these are just, you want to know something? She does not have, listen, like I said, we would all smash, but I'm going to tell you something. Those of you who have seen Devin in the flesh, Devin has an hourglass figure. This woman does not. Now, you don't have to have an hourglass figure to be hot, but you can't call yourself super hot when you're shaped like the letter T from your legs to your bust. I'm not saying she doesn't look good naked, 'cause, I mean, I don't know what she looks like naked, but there's a reason why she doesn't post many of these pictures, all right? right? I want to get another boob job to make them even bigger, and I love having lip fillers, she shared. If being a slut means looking like this, then bring it on. No, being a slut doesn't mean looking like that. Being a slut means fucking hordes of men indiscriminately. You see how she keeps trying to call herself a slut but then changing the definition? No, Amy knows she's a hoe. She knows she's a hoe. What she's doing here is she's calling herself a quote-unquote slut according to her definition. Nobody buys that. There's a couple of other pictures. She has pretty eyes, but you can tell she doesn't do a lot of full body. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, guys, I'm not saying that she is unattractive, but to be quite honest with you, at some point, she's going to have to realize that she's one of the hottest people the sun has ever written about. But if you really want to know if you're hot, compare yourself to Instagram models, Amy.